What's up, Commanders fans? It's your boy Commander Banter, back with another video. As you can see in my face, man, week 2 against the Lions. Piss poor performance, piss poor execution, all facets, offense, defense, special teams, coaches, just bad, man. This whole week, they would talk around town and talk around the whole league was that Detroit was finally favorites in a game for the first time in 24 games. And going out through this week, you know, the talk was that's disrespectful. Look at our offense as far as the Commanders and all that, and we just showed that the word is right. Betting odds is correct. We're not that team yet. I'm not gonna be on here that long, cause I'm still kind of hot about the game and just how bad we played. Obviously, ain't gonna be no game balls given out, so we can take that segment out. We can look at some stats, so I can cry. Cause Ahmad St. Brown just torched us. It was bad. Like, we made him look like a Pro Bowl wide receiver. And it feels like that's the trend. We make people look nice. We made Christian Kirk look nice last week, and we let Ahmad St. Brown look like a Pro Bowl. So I'm scared about next week against Philly. That's supposed to be the game. Division rivals. And we got AJ Brown coming in the stadium. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I don't know, man. It was bad. We're gonna talk about some few things, but without further ado, let's get into it. All right, man, so looking at the stats, I mean, total yards for us is inflated. I feel like that doesn't show at all the game. We were down 22-0 first half, but Detroit Lions, 425 total yards really shows they had no problem moving up and down the field against us. It was like Golf was playing 7-on-7 and he could just pick and choose and pick us apart. So obviously looking at Detroit Lions, like I said, made him look. I think this is the best game he's ever had. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. If you can remember anything when he's playing with the Rams, but I don't think he ever had a 4-touchdown game. Picked us apart. Like I said, St. Brown, man had, what is that? 116 plus 68, 180 yards, all purpose. Damn near 200 yards, all purpose, 2 touchdowns. St. Brown, he had his way with us. He 58-yard rush off that jet sweep. I think that was 3rd down that we needed to stop too, or something like that. Just ridiculous, man. And a 49-yard catch. I mean, to a certain extent, St. Juice, he did pretty well against them on the slot. Really, he was getting it against our top 2 corners. William Jackson, like I said, paying $40 million for him to get mossed. And Ahmad St. Brown's like 5'11", 5'10". Like, come on, man. I knew what type of game that was going to be when Golf just threw that Hail Mary up, that prayer up. And I just seen William Jackson just stumble and lunge at the ball. I was like, yep, this is the game that's going to be, man. Swift really didn't do what he did for last week against Philly. But he had 10 yards of carry. 50-yard run. Had a receiving touchdown. Jamal Williams, what is that? 4, almost 5 yards of carry. How much the Detroit Lions had their way with us? They did whatever they wanted. And then don't see defensive stats, but Aiden Hutchinson, 3 sacks. Couple others, 2 sacks. Like, and then looking at our side, 14 attempts. So what is that? Not counting Wentz. 14, 15, 18, 19 carries as a team for 60 yards. The reason we won those 4 straight games last year is because we ran the ball. And everything else funneled behind that. We pounded the rock, and it opened up play action shot plays. It made defenses think if we were in shotgun, we still had the opportunity to run. We got to stop the run. So that opened up McKissick and Gibbs on the flats and beating the linebackers. But it was all set up by the run. 19 for 60-something yards is not going to set up anything. Positive, I do like how we're using Curtis Samuel. I like the play design that Scott is using for Curtis Samuel. I think that is the only positive that I can really say right now during that game from Scott Turner is that he loves himself some Curtis Samuels. He is very creative with Curtis Samuels. With that creativity with Curtis Samuel, understand you have a top 10 wide receiver that you're paying $70 million. Harry needs to get more. He needs to get more targets. J.D. McKissick 7 for 54 is inflated also because I think he had like 4 catches on one drive that when we were just trying to come back. Logan Thomas looked good. But not really too much to say, man. Thing was, there was no effort. And as we can see in Detroit Lions stats is no resistance with the Commanders against the Lions. They did what they wanted. People had career days. Yeah, man. So like I said, it was just piss poor. Really bad. Offense, defense, special teams. First off, I want to talk about the offensive line because the talk that I heard is that Detroit was the one that was hurting and hindering in the offensive line, and Jared Goff was going to have trouble because they had to shuffle in different linemen. He looked fine. He was standing up there patting the ball 4 or 5 times, waiting for Amase Brown to cross the field and torch our DBs. We didn't get any consistent pressure on Goff, and that's his MO. If teams can get pressure on Goff, he folds. We couldn't do that with the makeshift offensive line that they had. And then on the other end, we at least had majority of our starters. Carson Wentz on his back 75% of the time, running for his life. We made Aiden Hutchinson, he probably just solidified his Rookie of the Year award on that one game. Because what he had 3 sacks, I think. Could have had more, but he was hobbled. But he gave him Defensive Rookie of the Year off this one game. Everybody else on the defensive line for the Lions, career days. Jeff Okudah struggles the last couple of years that he's been in the league. Last 2 years. Detroit probably thinks that they have a number 1 cornerback now. That's what it is. We just make teams look. We make players look better than they are. Because we're not it yet. Trying to figure it out. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I was saying this all once the schedule came out for the regular season. I said these 2 games are going to be a staple of what our season is going to look like. And I was banging off these 2 games. To be honest, starting 1-1 is not bad, obviously, on the record standpoint on paper. But with the teams that we were playing, I knew coming in we needed to go 2-0. And what was going to tell me how the season was going to go was how we won the games. So obviously I looked at Jacksonville. Obviously not a good team. Team rebuilding or building up at this point. But they're a young team. And I came in week 1 saying we either need to blow them out, and that will start my train going to, okay, we can actually be in contention of winning the division and make it to the playoffs. Or we win barely, which we did in week 1, and have questions going out through the season. Or we lose to Jacksonville, which we didn't, obviously. But if we lost to Jacksonville, I would have said it's time to look to the draft, to be honest. And the same thing was going to be for Detroit. They're a team that's coming up. I mean, yes, they have weapons. They have young guys, but they're still not it. They're still trying to figure it out. And it was the same thing. We either needed to blow them out to solidify if we were actually going to be in contention for playoffs. Either win barely and still have questions, or lose and just start a whole bag of questions that now I'm scared for the rest of the season. And maybe it's just because I'm recording this right after the game and emotions are high and everything, but I have questions because, like I said, week 1, Jacksonville, we struggled. We came out hot. We let them get back in the game. We stepped on our own foot, and we had to fight back. Cool. Still had the questions, obviously, about secondary, play calling. Why don't we run the ball coming into this game? And then this just opened up a whole nother can of worms of questions that I have about, is this team ready to compete? The fact that we started in the first half 22-0. Detroit had 200 and something yards in the first half, and we only had like 27 yards, man. With the so-called high-powered offense that we're supposed to have. With the so-called top 5 drafted or top 10 drafted D-line. Paying $30 million, $40 million for DBs, Kendall Fuller and William Jackson. And we can't stop the Lions? Like I said, granted, yes, they have weapons. Ahmad St. Brown is that guy. Swift is that guy. This should never happen, man. And it should never happen like it did. We shouldn't have been down 22-0. We were down 22-0 just off of effort. Lions front four just wanted it more. Like I said, Aiden Hutchinson just wanted it more than whoever was across from him. I think that was Leno. DBs. No, I'm trying to keep this video short. DBs. Kendall Fuller, William Jackson. We gotta figure it out, man. Like I said, it's partly Del Rio, because I feel like I don't understand why you're telling your DBs to play 10 yards back and just allow a free release and whatever the wide receiver wants to do on his route break. And then also William Jackson and Kendall Fuller just like I just don't feel like they had that dog. Like they're allowing wide receivers that are not of the caliber or elite caliber of the stats that they're putting on in the game go crazy. Missed tackles. Play that just popped in my mind. We're literally fighting to come back in the third. Or was it the fourth? I don't know. And it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8. And we can get a stop. And I think we're down 7. And if we get a stop, they kick a field goal, we go down 10. We can make some shake on offense because our offense was rolling at this point. Defense needs to get a stop on 3rd down. They throw a screen to Swift. It got tipped by Montez Sweat. Swift had to catch the ball and he fell down, laying down on the floor, on the ground. He gets up. Bobby McCain misses the tackle. Kendall Fuller whiffing. And the man gets a touchdown. It's not even the fact that he got a first down. He got a touchdown. That's effort. It's just, this was a bad game. And these, like I said, I'm upset because these 2 games were going to decide what type of season we were going to have. And now I'm starting to think the excitement that everybody had on the season opener was just fool's gold, because us as fans, Commanders fans, were just so excited that football was back and we won the first game. We really shouldn't have been as excited to win that game, because as fans, we want to see championships. We want to see playoffs. We want to see deep playoff runs. We want to see our team playing in January. We don't want to continue to end our season last week of December on a Week 18 game that doesn't mean anything. We want to see our team play in the winter. In these 2 games, we're going to show if we were going to play in the winter or not. It doesn't look like we are. Offense. Why do we not run the ball? Put in the comments section, please. Let me know y'all's take on why we don't run the ball enough. Is it because we have so many weapons? That was supposed to be a benefit for Carson Wentz, but it looks like it's hindering Scott Turner's decision making. Are we thinking that in week 5, once Brian Robinson comes back, we're going to change our whole scheme and start becoming a more run-heavy offense? Is it because Brian Robinson is not playing right now? Because Antonio Gibson had 1,000 yards last year, didn't he? Yes, he had. Like I said, he has fumbling problems. Everybody knows it. But he had 1,000 yards. In the 4-game win streak that we had last year, he was averaging maybe 80, 90 yards a game. Yes, Curtis Samuel is a weapon. But we just paid Terry $70 million, begging him to come back. And just because of the character of the guy and how great of a guy he is, you don't see there's an issue. But we paid this guy $70 million. He is most likely a top 10 wide receiver. Let me know in the comment section if you agree. Is Terry a top 10 wide receiver? Looking back at his career, his last 3 years, what quarterbacks he's had to play with, and his numbers he's had to put up, and the surrounding cast that he's had prior to this year, I think he's a top 10 wide receiver. And we only target him 3-4 times. I'm scared about next week. I was saying if we could start 2-0 going back to FedEx Field against the Philadelphia Eagles in week 3, I said FedEx Field and Landover, Maryland was going to be a movie. Because everybody was talking about how Philly is the team to beat because of all the moves they made in the offseason. And I was like, we have the team, we have the weapons that can spoil that. We have the weapons. Do we have the team? Do we have the fight? I don't know, man. I thought we could come out this game 2-0. We go back home. And we would literally have a chance to pull an upset. And in all that talk that Philly is winning the division and Philly I've even heard that Philly is a championship contender. I was really hoping we could come in and shut all that up. But now I don't feel good about it. I'm gonna say our guys are going to turn up. Hopefully this game they got shell shocked. They woke up and realized that they're going to get up for this game, division rival against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's it, man. Let me know what you think in the comments section about the game. What you thought about the effort, the play calling, pretty much A to Z during this game, and your temperature for next week against Philly. You excited? You nervous? Did the wheels fall off? Are our coaches on hot seats? Let me know what you think, man. And until next week, back at home in Landover, Commander Banter out.